Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is August the 30th, 2023. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Let's see. My foot is doing a little bit better. Heel isn't hurting as much, so that's nice. It's nice to be able to walk a little bit better. That being said, like I'm stuck because like I want to be a little bit more active and do a little bit more stuff, and I'm just like, let's just stick to your little normal workout routines. Hopefully, we're good by the weekend. Then we can maybe do a little bit more like we want. So that's the plan. That's the play. Let's see. Food corner. I actually have an interesting one to report. We had the annual Taste of San Mar today that popped up on me, so that was nice. I ate a lot of food. Let's see, I had a brisket taco that like you essentially could pick either chicken or brisket, and then just kind of top it yourself with like guacamole, sour cream, cheese, all that kind of stuff. So like we did that. Then there were so many foods. Like I would say there was at least like maybe one kind of food from just like a bunch of just big like nationalities that work in our company. So this was nice. Like there was some lamb with onion, that was yummy. There was some like veggie lo mein noodles. There was like samosas. There was egg rolls, just all kinds of shit. So I just massed my plate out. And y'all know me. I normally like to scam and get a second plate because, you will normally find a way to get my little extra ticket. But because of the scale back thing, like I gotta tell y'all, like I find myself with like food guilt. You know what I mean? Have you ever felt that? Like I feel like people have definitely felt this. Like I can't be the only one, but it's just like you gorge yourself on food, and I mean I'm a food guy, so like that doesn't usually bother me. But like now that I'm in this mode, now that I'm trying to defend this like weight loss, I'm just like Isaiah, you can't, you just can't. So I just let it burn a hole in my pocket, and I didn't, try again. So it might be really an end of the era. I don't know. I'm not sure. Might not be big grubbing like I used to. But I figured, hey, we at least have one anime style meal. We gotta at least do that, right? At least until the doctor's telling me to stop. That's the play anyway. Let's see. Yeah, that's really about it for that. My news, a little bit of me corner. Let's see here. I'm gonna do my little classic startup, and we can go ahead and chop up some news with the cheese. A little bit of side news that I don't actually like want to get too into, but let's see. Hurricane Idalia, I think it's the name of this one, hit Florida. I want to say it hit like yesterday. It's been moving along. I think it's in like Georgia now. It's been downgraded to like a tropical storm, but still like very high level. Like I don't know, maybe 2 or 3, something like that. It's been doing damage, but I haven't heard any death toll numbers, so that's like a dub in that regard. But obviously, I hope people are staying safe in those regions, and hopefully, the damage isn't too catastrophic, too bad, and hopefully the areas bounce back quick. So that's what we're rooting for. Yevgeny Prigozhin. It looks like they had a little bit of a private funeral for our guy. Rest in peace, you piece of shit. Will not be missed. But yeah, this feels like as close as I'm gonna get to confirmation. Putin said some words, over the week. I don't know if he showed up, probably not. But it does seem like the Kremlin is trying to like play the shit down. They don't really want to make a big spectacle about it. They're kind of mad that everyone's talking about it like this. Like whatever, dude fucked up. He's dead now. Move on. He was just a hot dog guy. No. So yeah, there's that. I don't really want to linger on those stories, but they did happen, so I wanted to kind of highlight them. But here's my main stuff. Let's get to the entree courses. From Al Jazeera. Pakistan court suspends ex-Prime Minister Imran Khan's conviction in state gifts case. So I was like, oh my gosh, are we having a We're So Back right now? Like, is Khan back? Like, are we here? And kind of, sort of, not really. But let's go ahead and talk about it. A Pakistani court has suspended the conviction and 3-year prison sentence of former Prime Minister Imran Khan in the state's gifts depository case. The 2-member bench of Islamabad High Court, or the IAC, on Tuesday ordered Khan's release on bail. Now, that being said, it is a suspension and it's not an acquittal. So it's still on the record. And even though he can be potentially released, it doesn't look like he is, because they still got him on like 100 cases of shit. So, like, there's a state gifts case, which I heard a breakdown that kind of helped. Essentially, he got gifts, and then with those gifts, he like sold them off and, received some money and stuff. But they're saying you didn't report that. And because you didn't report this kind of stuff properly, we can jam you up for that legally. Excuse me. I believe some of the other cases are blasphemy. There's also treason. Another breakdown I kind of got, and some of these breakdowns I got from The Take, which is like a podcast side piece to Al Jazeera. So I kind of like, hitting that and listening to that. But essentially he said that he had this cipher, and it's kind of like become this like mythical kind of document that people have been saying. It's like, hey, like, there's this information on this cipher that only like the bigwigs, the people in power know about and have read. And like, it just has all this like information on it. And some of the information that like Khan was saying on here was that, the West was actually forcing Pakistan to silence me, to suppress me, to get me out, because I wasn't strong enough on the Russia-Ukraine situation. I didn't bark loud enough against Russia, and that's why they're doing this. And they're like, that's all a lie, that's all bullshit, we're getting you on that. So like, that's just a couple of things that they're trying to peg on him. But I have also heard that initially people were upset about Khan's prison treatment, like that his accommodations weren't right for someone of his stature. It was fucked up that he was even here in the first place. So it looks like they became accommodating, and like, it's almost like if you've seen what is it, Narcos, where like oh my gosh, his name's escaping me. Not Pedro. Big cartel guy. I shouldn't have bring this reference up. Now I'm just in the weeds. But he got like a whole fucking Pablo Escobar. Fuck me, Jesus. He got a whole fucking prison suite. It was so fucking decked out. And Khan's kind of situations like that, it feels like. It's a lot more cushier. I'm obviously being hyperbolic, whatever. But it's a little bit more cushier, more amenities. He gets to like pick his own meals, eat his little favorites. He's getting Factor meals or shit. Not sponsored. But yeah, so he's doing okay. But and they also mentioned that he gets books to read. So that's neat. Good to get your books on. I imagine that's what you're doing at 70 years old, just reading a bunch of books. But yeah, so interesting turn. It's a positive turn for him. It does seem that like, he definitely still has supporters, but people are mad that it's like, okay, cool that you're, potentially giving him bail, but at the same time, he's still in jail, and not to mention he still can't be our leader like we want. So people are upset about that. That's the thing. And where I stand on this, I don't know. I truly don't know. Like, I do think that everyone kind of has a hand in their own destruction here. The Pakistani government does, Khan does, the military does. Like, everyone's hands are dirty here. Everyone's made a mess of things, and it just doesn't seem like they can really pull themselves or Pakistan out of it. And that's really unfortunate. That's really sad. There's supposed to be elections this year, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to make that happen. That's unfortunate. So yeah, that's kind of where things stand as of now. Figured I'd do a little catch up, talk about our main con. And now it's time to talk about some other news, other developments, other breaking news. Let's see, from the BBC. Gabon coup. Our army seizes power from Ali Bongo and puts him in house arrest. All right, so I've been learning a little bit today, taking a little crash course on Gabon. Gabon. I don't know. I didn't do a pronunciation check. That's my bad. But Gabon's President Ali Bongo has appealed for help after the army deposed him in a coup and put him under house arrest. Speaking on Wednesday from what he said was his residence, he urged supporters to raise your voice. Earlier, an army appeared on TV to say they had taken power. They said they had annulled the results of Saturday's election in which Mr. Bongo was declared the winner, but the opposition claimed it was fraudulent. The officers also said they had arrested one of Mr. Bongo's sons for treason. Later, they announced that Mr. Bongo would be replaced by the head of the Presidential Guard, General Bryce Oligui Niguma, who was earlier carried triumphantly through the streets of the capital of Libreville. What a fucking sweet town, Libreville. That sounds fucking dope. I want to have a beer in Libreville. They said that from Thursday, the people of Gabon will once again be free to go about their business between 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. But traffic restrictions would remain in place for now. Mr. Bongo's overthrow would end his family's 55-year hold on power in Gabon. Now, this is where I start to go, And look, I can't really explain the matrices to explain how I, come to my conclusions. I know I should get better at that, whatever. Hopefully in time I do. But it's hard to do that in a span of, a 5-minute kind of, segment. So whatever. But definitely one of those things when you're supposed to have, a democratic kind of vibe. You're supposed to be bringing that to the table. But yet, you notice that there's, a dynastic vibe instead. That to me is a red flag. That to me goes, I should maybe, dig into this person, these people. And, I do think the Bongos had, good intentions on paper or what have you. But this is a very oil-rich country. And you'll notice that all of the money seems to be at the top of society and is not trickling down into these people. And that the Bongos have just been in power this entire time, just chilling. And that's, like I said, that's just a big red flag. Don't like that. So, on this one, I definitely feel like I'm for the people on this one. When the streets are coming out and saying, hey, we're happy he's gone. Thumbs up. He's sweet. I tend to echo and say, okay, yeah, I think that's right. Whereas other times where I go, this feels a little bit, I don't know, because I'm just not as hip to the situation. It doesn't feel as glaring to me, with Niger. I think that might be a little bit of a mix. And yeah, there's people on the streets, but that could easily be inflated numbers by just the military trying to make a presence. You know what I mean? But it could also be there are a lot of problems at hand, and that the government or that the president isn't fixing them, and that's the issue. So I don't know. I don't have a divining rod and it's perfect or anything like that. I'm just doing my best. I'm just a little guy. But yeah, for here, I'm definitely totally with the people here. They definitely go through some more details, kind of explain the situation, which is great if you'd like to read that. They have a little bit of another article about Ali Bongo, the Playboy Prince now under house arrest. I like that. It's definitely an interesting character. I always love learning about people, just across the world. I think that's the coolest thing about just learning about news and then just history in general. You'll just get these crazy profiles of people who just, good, bad, or otherwise, they just go and do extraordinary things. And I always just love learning about them. And then being able to talk about them here, it's nice. So, yeah, that is the situation with Mr. Bongo as it stands. I am very curious to see what happens with Gabon. It's also, yet again, this trend, I mean, and this predates the podcast even, of course, but, just, 3 years of just, you're seeing a lot of upheaval, a lot of coups in these, in Africa, just throughout these countries. And, it's definitely interesting to learn about this stuff as it's happening and, weigh in where I can. And, I would love if there's anyone out there listening who, has more handles, more understanding on this and the things I talked about. Please tune in, chirp at me. I love that. But yeah, let's go ahead and move along. I'm going to move to the States. Gonna get a real American drugs with it. But not the fun kind, not the good kind of drugs. We're talking about big pharma shit. From NBC News. Medicare names first 10 drugs up for price negotiations with the government. Let's see here. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services on Tuesday announced the first 10 prescription drugs that will be subject to the Medicare price negotiations under the Inflation Reduction Act, a critical step in the Biden administration's attempt to drive down the high cost of prescription drugs for older people. Let's see. Now, these negotiated prices will go into effect in 2026. We'll just go ahead and run through what they are real quick. Eliquis, a blood thinner. Xarelto, a blood thinner. That sounds like a fucking Kingdom Hearts boss. Januvia, a diabetes drug. Jardanius, a diabetes drug. Enbrel, a rheumatoid arthritis drug. Imbruvica, what's up, Imbruvica? A drug for blood cancers. Farziga, what was that, a fucking Final Fantasy spell? A drug for diabetes, heart failure, and chronic kidney disease. Okay, that too. Entresto, a heart failure drug. Stelara, a drug for psoriasis and Crohn's disease. Okay, lit. Fias and Novolog for diabetes. Together, the 10 drugs selected accounted for $50.5 billion, or 20% of Medicare Part D spending from June 1st, 2022 to May 31st, according to the CMS. Now, the Part D drugs are drugs that are taken at home. They show on here that Part B drugs are administered by providers and facilities, like chemotherapy drugs. And then Part D drugs that don't have generic or comparable alternatives. But yeah, I mean, honestly, if you're still awake, that's lit. Thank you. To me, this shit was going to put me to sleep. I didn't know where I was going to talk about the story. But then I kind of thought about it, and it's like, you know why, though, this is a story? Because it's weird, right, that we haven't had this conversation sooner, and, like, why aren't they allowed to? And essentially, this has just been just a net positive up until now for drug makers. They've been able to set the price, and we've just been buying it. Now, you know, for other countries, they lower the price because they know that, hey, at the end of the day, it didn't cost this much to make the drug. They might say, oh, yeah, so much research, so much time and effort went into this. Sure, yeah, of course it did. So much research, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, the apples to apples, like, it doesn't cost that much to make X drug, but you want to see a profit, so you set a high price, and then you get it. And then you just say, okay, from all these other places, like, yeah, we'll set a lower price, whatever. That's why you just see these dramatic price differences. And it's like, okay, we should be having people going to the table to negotiate on our behalf so that people who have these issues, like you have a heart issue, you have diabetes, you know what I mean? Like you have blood pressure issues. I don't fucking know. Like, especially for our older people who are relying on this, like you're on Medicaid. It's not like you have a way to like fucking hustle and get better health care. Like, to be against this kind of thing is to be against that class of people, those kinds of people. So it is crazy to me. Like I was literally, before I actually got on, I was listening to Ben Shapiro defend drug makers and quote unquote innovation. And it's like, no, motherfucker, these are drugs that people need to live. People are going to find a way to make them because they are needed. Like, what do you mean? Like, you're not stifling innovation here so that your mom, your pa, or you in the future can officially get blood thinners. You know what I fucking mean? Like, it's crazy to make that fucking argument, and economists try that bullshit, fucking CEOs try that goddamn shit. Like, no, blow it out your ass. That worked on me as a kid. It worked on me as a teenager growing up, but then I finally realized, like, no, people are going to innovate when they want to do something. It is just a flat out fucking thing. Innovation sparks it fucking self. The only thing that you're gonna do with these fucking capitalist endeavors is fucking maybe streamline the process, aka make it as dirt cheap as possible, aka make it so it's like, oh yeah, here you go, here's this generic drug, it more or less does the trick. Like, that is what you're sparking here. This is the innovation you're making. That's the only inroads you fucking make. So I'm at least happy to see this. It's a step in the right direction. I know more drugs are gonna get added to the list. There's a chance that drug makers could try to like opt out of this, but they're gonna lose a lot of money in doing so. So of course they're fucking crying. They're in fucking shambles. They're in tears. They are going to try to fight this process, lobby this process. They do have the money to do it. So, I mean, I imagine that there's a strong chance that the drugs that they really want to fight for and keep at a certain price, they're going to get that price no matter what we do on the haggling. But once again, I'll take a dub. Thank you, Dark Joe, Brendan, Corn Pop, man. Whatever, man. Fuck you. Fuck you too. All right, we got one more thing to cover. Speaking of drugs, I'm gonna take my little break, and then we will get back to it. And we're gonna talk about the Kang. Yummy, yummy, yummy in my tummy. Okay, from the New York Post. All right. Oh my god, I hate this website. Okay, I gotta close an ad, maybe. This is about the Burger King Whopper. They're not gonna let me do the headline. I'm not gonna fucking read it. Let's try refreshing. Oh man, we'll do it live. Nope, didn't help me. Okay. Burger King must face lawsuit claiming its Whoppers are too small. Thank you. Jesus fucking Christ. I hate it here. A judge has rejected Burger King's bid to dismiss a lawsuit claiming that it cheated hungry customers by making its Whopper sandwich appear larger than it actually is. U.S. District Judge Roy Altman in Miami said Burger King must defend against a claim that its depiction of Whoppers on in-store menu boards misled reasonable customers, amounting to a breach of contract. Customers in the proposed class action lawsuit accused Burger King of portraying burgers with ingredients that overflow over the bun, making it appear that the burgers are 35% larger and contain more than double the meat as the chain serves. Burger King, a unit of Restaurant Brands International, countered that it wasn't required to deliver burgers that look exactly like the picture, but the judge says it was up to jurors to tell us what reasonable people think. In his decision made public on Friday, Altman also let customers pursue negligence-based and unjust enrichment claims. But he did dismiss claims based on TV and online ads, finding none in which Burger King promised a burger size or patty and failed to deliver it. So, you can kind of hear me stifling a chuckle here, because these are the kind of things that, I'm sorry, maybe I'm just so broken and I'm just so beaten down that I just don't believe it. I just go, there's no way in hell a lawsuit like this is actually gonna carry. So I can kind of understand where the legal team from Burger King is like, yeah, let's just try to get this fucking shit thrown out. Because at the end of the day, we're serving them slop. They're eating the slop. Why are they complaining? Just eat it. Like, just fucking shut up and eat it. because that's me. That's me. When I unfurl my Whopper sandwich and it is not busting out the frame with onions, lettuce, tomato. In fact, the only thing that's busting out of the fucking bun is mayo, because they decided to just quadruple down on that. I don't complain. I just fucking gulp it down because I'm a fucking sheep. But the people who came up with this lawsuit, they're covered in goddamn pixie dust and they're ready to fly, baby. And they demand respect. They saw an ad and they want what was in that ad, which was the goddamn fucking Whopper. So, fuck yeah. I fuck with that energy. I will hopefully keep you posted on that. Apparently, let's see, McDonald's and Wendy's are defending against a similar lawsuit in Brooklyn, New York, federal court. And then let's see here. I think also Taco Bell's kind of going through it as well over their Crunchwrap fillings. Apparently, they are also not. They're not bringing it according to customers. And each lawsuit seeks at least $5 million in damages. So go off, honey, pop off, get supersize me. We love to see it. That's all I have for today. That's the episode. If you'd like to support it, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Yeah, let's see. Subscribing to that, you become a newsie. That's pretty sweet. I shout you out at the top of the month. And I also plug a project you're on, thing you're doing. And then let's see. Free ways to hit me up. IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. And I'm on pretty much all the socials if you'd like to follow me or the podcast. Hopefully you're following on the YouTube. That means a lot. That helps a lot. Thumbs up are great. All the stars are great. Max them out. Comments are awesome. I also want to say, just a special aside, thank you for all the support. Anytime you hit me up and say, dude, I love what you're doing. This shit rocks. That melts me. That makes me so fucking happy. So thank you so much for that. The support means everything. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being a goddamn friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.